नमस्ते जी नमस्ते। हाँ जी जिਉਂਦੇ ਰਹੋ ਜਿਉਂਦੇ ਰਹੋ।
Some guests need no introductions, especially ones like Vishnu Kaushal and Ayush Guha, because their popularity in mainstream social media speaks for itself. If there is such a thing as creating an online empire, then you, sir, have reached quite ahead in your endeavors. On the other hand, we have Mr. Ayush Guha, who guides, inspires, and gives content creators like Vishnu a platform to showcase their talents.
Thank
So
you.
we thank you for your presence here at eSummit 2021. And with your permission, we'd like to begin this session of eTalk.
Hi, thank you so much for that introduction. I've never gotten an introduction like that, but nice to know that about myself.
All right,
Yeah,
so
we can start. Yeah.
of course. So we'll just begin with a very basic question. How did both of you start on your journeys? Vishnu with your content creation and Ayush with your position as the head of strategy and content management.
Aish, do you want to go first?
Yeah, sure. I actually inherited the role officially last year, just before the lockdown was announced. I've been a part of the media publishing business for about 8 years now. Moved into branded content solutions 2 3 years back, 2.5 years back. There was a growing need for content creators and to put a little structure to the management of content creators and how we can make them some more sustainable and scalable for a long-term thing. This is when I came into picture. I moved roles internally within Times Internet, started last April, and here we are. That's how being a part of the Hype team and been leading them with content and strategy.
With me, it was so I took non-medical. I thought I'd do engineering, which I did eventually. But after my 12th grade or 12th class, I was like I used to be someone who used to study like 8, 9, 10 hours a day. I used to like prep for all those IT mains, J mains, and all those things, right? And I'm sure you guys did as well. Literally, you are where I wanted to be specific. So, so yeah, me and two of my friends, we were like three of us, we were doing non-medical. So two of my best friends, we thought like, let's either start a music band or let's start a YouTube channel. But because clearly we weren't talented enough to start a music band, we said like we started doing public interviews, and that's how we started a YouTube channel. And that's sort of how we began creating. And I sort of found my calling there, like creating videos and like talking to people, making people laugh, making jokes, cracking jokes, all these things. Like I just found just a sense of ease in that process. So yeah, that's how I started. That this was like 5 years ago, 5.5 years ago.
That's
So
really captivating.
yeah.
So I have the next question for both of you actually is what is the main ingredient to fame in 2021, and what are the main challenges that come with catering to such a large audience?
You want to take this or should I?
Sure, it's a very loaded question because I think as a creator, there's no set formula for you to like be famous. But I think in anything, like if that's a general question, you need to have like two things. Like as a creator, I can say like one is authenticity and one is skill, and it has to be a balance of both. So authenticity in the sense that uh, a lot of people can do sort of Punjabi content, let's say. A lot of people can vlog, and a lot of people can do a certain kind of content. But like when I do Punjabi content, it's authentic and it connects because like my fellow Punjabi folks are like, "Ha, mere ghar pe bhi ye bolte hain." And similarly, like that is the authenticity bit of it. Like, how authentic can you be to who you are, like as a person, and that involves certain level of self-awareness and all these things, which is like a process that happens over a period of time. The other part is the skill set part of it, which is basically what do you do, the medium you use to create. For example, I make videos, so video making, content writing, comedy writing. All these things are skill sets that I need to improve upon. So these are the two things that you sort of like. It's if this is authenticity in a graphic. If I had to explain with the graph, this is authenticity. This is uh, your skill set. You have, it's a very linear thing. You have to sort of build, like, with every time you upload a video, you have to improve on your authenticity and you have to improve your skill sets. It could be any skill set, cooking, whatever that your skill set is. So it's that's what the formula seems like to me.
I'll just lead from Vishnu. Yeah, as he rightly said, it's a balance between relatable and having a voice in your content, right? It's the balance that you have to strike eventually. Uh, Fame is not the right word. Recognition is what most of the creators chase after. Fame is a consequence of relentless reinvention, day-to-day basis for what you have to do as content, which is on trend, and consistency that you have to do it every day. You have to constantly reinvent. And the creators who stand out are the people who find this balance between consistency and being authentic, as Vishnu said, right? Those are the front runners. They get the recognition, and again, fame is a consequence and an output of that balancing act that you do. It's relentless hard work. It's on a daily base. It's over. It's overwhelmingly taxing on a person to do it on a daily basis and be to avoid certain trends, to pick up certain trends, and also be authentic at the same time. So that balance, people who've been able to strike that balance are the ones who stand out and get recognized. And then fame again is a consequence of being recognized. That's how it is.
It's very reminiscent of the success excellence equation that we heard in like Three Idiots. I'm sorry, a lot of that part was very reminiscent of that particular dialogue. I would like to ask a follow-up to the entire concept of Punjabi content that Vishnu, you brought up. So a lot of your content is like a humorous and a satirical take on how Punjabi characteristic traits are misrepresented in general media. So, leaving all of the humor aside and leaving all of the video making content, creating part of it aside, could you tell us what it's like to be on the receiving end of like stereotypical tendencies like this and why you chose to react the way you do?
I have an unpopular opinion on stereotypes. I genuinely believe like stereotypes arise because there is something to pick up on. And comedy is like, I work in comedy. I am not like so I used to be very politically woke and politically active a few years back. And I thought like, I figured out this was my self-awareness journey as a creator, that I bring a certain value to people's life, which is like I make their day better. I want to make their day better with what can I do? Okay, I know how to make jokes. I know how to make people laugh. I want to improve on that. And I thought like this is what I am best at. So I want to like capitalize on that and double down on that. So what I do is comedy. And I figure out like I want to pick this thing up and I want to exaggerate it out of proportion. And I don't do this with just Punjabi content. I do this with like I make mockumentaries with like when influencers get a brand deal. Like I made a mockumentary like that, and it was like it was a joke on me. I stereotyped myself and I just blew it out of proportion now on how an influencer, and apparently that was a branded video, but I blew it out of proportion and made it just like I am an influencer is like starting to invest in stocks and like buying all these things. Now he's not talking to normal people. He's just whenever he goes to a restaurant, he asks, hey, is there a like collab situation going on? So this is what I do. And yeah, I feel the way I go about it.
Good answer, sir. This is for Mr. Ayush Guha. Could you describe to us what it's like to manage content creators with such a large audience, and how has your journey been at Hype Entertainment?
Content creation and creators as a business, unlike a media business, is very people driven, not process driven. Yes, sure, you can apply a lot of processes to increase efficiencies and information management. But in the end of the day, it's the creator that you are selling, it's the creator that you're working for, and they are in the end people, right? And you have to get to know them. So I think content creators and people who work in that business are very much involved. For me personally and the team, from recruiting, from onboarding them, to understanding their content, to evolving with them, to suggesting what to do. Creators put a piece of themselves out in the world when they create content. Unlike an actor who's acting separately and has their own life, creators actually are putting their lives out. So you have to understand the lives to be in this business. So they become a part of your family. They become a part of your daily journey on what's happening in their lives and what's happening in their output that they're putting on social media platforms. I think that's what's uh, different in this business. It can't be put into ones and zeros. You have to involve yourself emotionally into the creators as well. All the creators that we have at Hype, I can safely say they're my friends, like, because I know what they're doing. I know what's going through their personal lives and what's coming out as content as well. Uh, yeah, so you are involved at trust process, thinking about the wide area and the wide network of audience that they cater to. Yes, that can be overwhelmingly exciting, because you're jumping from one creator to the other creator, one audience set to the other audience set, one kind of tonality to other type of tonality from each creator. I think the key to manage and overcome that is to have a great team. Is to have a team that's better than you most of the time, to help you, and that team who's equally passionate and equally involved in the business side of being in the creators. We have a great team here who work relentlessly with all creators, and they know the creators a little bit more than me now, and that's what is required of them. So that's how it is. It's a people skill, and you have to have equally good people working with them to kind of succeed in life. And well, Hype has been officially a part of me for the past 11 months, and it's been an exciting roller coaster ride. The only thing you can do is to hold on and to adapt as quickly as the creators reinvent themselves. They do it day in, day out. They make some wonderful content on a daily basis, uh, and you just hold on and understand and adapt your business accordingly. Uh, what sets us apart is to understand what's in the strength, and move past it. We will always be we'll always look into the present and what's happening in the current deal, what's happening, what is Vishnu doing as a part of the project. But the idea is to look past the current fad of what's happening, because that will happen anyway, and move ahead in the future, and how the media landscape will change, and how the content creation and the media consumption through creators is going to evolve. With the new ASCII guidelines coming out right now, content creators have gotten a mainstream stature. They are now a place of advertising, as big as TV or as big as radio spots, um, which is one of the fastest way we've seen a media grow in the last 1 year that has happened. No one's consumed more amount of data and content than what we did in the last year, and mostly because of these creators who are using social media channels to run it. So yeah, that's that. It's an exciting roller coaster ride with Vishnu and the team, and this is how we are working right now.
Right. So our next question would be directed to the both of you, because we want the, behind the scenes answer as well as the on-screen answer. So a lot of Vishnu's content is in all three languages, right? So English, Hindi, and Punjabi. So was it a conscious decision to go along with this particular format, as you approach international audiences and your channel continues to grow?
I think for me it's a very reiterative process, because it's like it's very feedback centric. I mean, I create something, I see what works, what doesn't work, and when something works, I double down on it. But if I want something to work, because if I am heading into a certain direction, so for example, like most of my mockumentaries that I make, they are in English/Hindi. I don't think I've made any Punjabi mockumentary. These are most of the reels are Punjabi, because that's a sort of content that I sort of get the most satisfaction in, that vlogs and that. I also make vlogs which are on my YouTube, which are highly inconsistent right now. Sorry, Ayush. But also, this mockumentary style of video making, I like that, because literally no one else is doing that in India for now. And I just feel like that's a much more expressive medium for me. It's long form, you can create a lot of things. And with English, what you can do is, like, you can just set a premise of a joke, and it happens to be a language which I am really comfortable in, because I've grown up speaking that language. So yeah, I mean, it's not as conscious as like, oh, I want to make a video in English or Hindi or Punjabi. But when I make Punjabi videos, they are of course, like when I make regional content, they're of course in Punjabi, because I want to connect with my audience which have followed me because of Punjabi content, because I want to serve them as well. But I also want to serve what else Vishnu has to offer, which are like these mockumentaries that I am passionate about. So it's very reiterative. At the same time, uh, it's it, it's more direct. It's more of a, it's reiterative, of course, that what the feedback that I get, and also it is just serving a piece of me which is authentic, which is just me, like whatever language that I feel best expressing myself in. So yeah.
Yeah, as a business, I think the diversity of content that Vishnu creates and originality and authenticity of it really helps, because uh, brands are many, briefs are many, and there will always be a requirement of something or the other. So we have that array and a pool of kind of content and tonality that we can serve. The branded content that Vishnu's done, especially the one that he was mentioning, the influencer one, was one of the most brilliantly integrated content and blatantly integrated yet so funny kind of content that I've seen in the 3 years I've worked in branded content as a business. It did take us a push, right, Vishnu? Like we had to push them, like let's do this, let's try this, and the brand was very happy at the end of it, because even though we called out the brand as a brand that's spending on an influencer, it was packaged so nicely, the way that he wants to do, the authentic mockumentary style that he's created. It really set new goals for branded content in the influencer business.
Yeah, because in that video we were literally like I was calling myself out and the brand out, like to two parties involved in a deal of a branded video. Like I'm calling myself out for like taking money, and I'm literally saying that, oh, this is like a shitty product, whatever, and I get the money. Amazing product, love it. Like I say that in a branded video. But like the brand was really cool and they got a lot of attraction from that video, and I think that's sort of how even because the audience is smart, they know when it's a branded video. But when you just joke about it, when you tell them, yeah, I know it's a branded video, you know it's a branded video, let's joke about it,
You've owned,
that cuts a lot of crap. Sorry.
you've owned that branded deal that you've done. You've owned it and openly said it, and executed it
Yeah.
excellently.
Yeah.
I had a follow-up to one of the previous questions. Vishnu, do you ever feel typecasted by your Punjabi stereotypes?
Typecast in what sense?
In the sense, it's expected out of you and you're known for it, and that makes you a little uncomfortable and doesn't let you expand in terms of creativity and content.
I would understand how a creator in my position would feel that. I, on the other hand, have a different environment when it comes to it. Like my Instagram, if you've been a part of my Instagram versus if you've seen my videos, these are two different things. Okay, if you've seen my video, if you've seen my viral videos, they are mostly Punjabi. And let's say if 100 people see that Punjabi video, some of them choose to follow me for 5 days, 7 days. Some of them choose to stick. So now the people who stick, I on my stories am myself. Like I talk in English, Hindi, Punjabi. I do all the things. I include my brother. I talk about like my emotions, all these things. It's like it's me. It's my life out there. So people know, like people who follow me, who are like my cult, they know that okay, this is a Punjabi character. He's not like this on this. So they sort of know like this guy can do this. This guy can talk about his emotions. Oh, I would like to see a vlog in his life. Like how does that character switch happen? Like how does he go from being a normal guy to this Punjabi, haan ji kitte hage sige hage guys, and like what is the situation happening here? So yeah, it's about like creating that environment, and I think I have sort of like I know how to do that for myself. So that helps me. That helps me not get typecasted by the people who I want my videos to be watched by.
Right. So the next question is, addressing something that Ayushi brought up. It's pretty evident now that Instagram isn't just the social media platform that it was before, kind of driven by personal motives. Right now we have social issues, brand visibility, marketing. It's like a multifaceted tool. So how would you both describe the shift in the role of social media, and how did you all react to it?
Um, Instagram has done a pivotal shift over the last few months. Instagram was a social media sharing platform, right? The center button on Instagram was a plus sign where you click on it and that takes a picture of you. Essentially, that's what described Instagram as in its design language, that you press the plus button and you share a photo or a video of yourself. That kind of showcases the philosophy of what Instagram was, the social media for sharing your personal moments or your life or whatever. That button after the introduction of Reels was changed into a Reels button, which shows a massive shift from Instagram's point of view, which which was sharing to now viewing. Now Instagram is essentially a viewing platform, what YouTube or any TV channel is for us, right? It's a viewing platform where you get all types of content. You get contents for advertising, you get contents for tutorials, education, news, even right now, marketing. And the new ASCI guidelines, as I mentioned again, has given that stature that this is the new media. So when you say media in general, it's covering all facets of consumption of content that we do. Uh, we are seeing massive shifts on the kind of content that was shared. Till about a year back, you were sharing your experiences, you were sharing your life, you were sharing some influencer content, you were sharing stereotypical content. Now you're sharing tips on investments. Now you're sharing tips on laws that has to be done. You're sharing point of views on political environments. So it's become consumption now. It's going to eventually become TV channels of how you have, right. You can follow lawyers on Instagram who are giving daily advice on what's happening in the law. You can find investment people who are giving daily advice, students giving advice on where to invest, how to invest, what company is growing. So it's essentially a viewing platform. It's now a media consumption platform. And the more you consume a particular type of content, the more it will show that particular type of content. Um, exactly how YouTube works most of the time. And these content are now informational. They are just not looking into someone else's life or getting behind the scenes. They are informational content. Um, and that shift will only excite us because now you have so much more. It's just not about fashion bloggers putting 5 dresses on. It's about so much more. You can have whole different array of verticals of different content creators from different universes and different academic backgrounds fitting into Instagram. They don't have to rely on media publication platforms, right? Mainstream media was always distributed by organizations. They were writers, but they were part of an organization. Right now, you don't need an organization. You don't need media distribution. You can distribute it on Instagram. You can go talk about any particular topic and you can distribute it on Instagram. And it's going to be exciting times ahead. You'll see surges on whatever consumption pattern is going on in the country at that point of time or the world at a point. You'll see more of that content on Instagram. So yeah, I took it was a long answer.
No, absolutely not. It was a very interesting
covered and encapsulated everything that there was to be about social media. But I don't have anything necessarily to add to that. But the only thing, like the only analogy I would have is that it is like social media in 2020 and 2021 is specifically I think, in my opinion, the shift happened in 2020, where the thanks to TikTok ban and Reels happening, the massive shift happened in 2020. Like literally everyone was not just viewing, like Ayush said, that YouTube is a viewing platform, right? Not everyone can be a YouTuber, will be a YouTuber. Like everyone might want to, not can be. Well, it's a long process to make a YouTube video. Like a 4-minute YouTube video takes days, scripting, writing, editing, so much more. Now, YouTube is this Instagram was a creating platform that became a creation platform that became a viewing platform, which means that you can create what you want to view. You can create exactly what you want to view. And Instagram till I don't before 2020 never gave any guidelines to what to create, what trends are going on, what like Instagram had no whatsoever nothing to do with like to tell creators that this is what you should do, shouldn't do. Now Instagram actually is promoting trends. There are trends that are set by Instagram, and there is so much like Instagram is involved. So Instagram as an ecosystem has changed, and social media as an ecosystem, it's basically the second internet wave in a way.
Right. So just following up to that, when it comes to brand visibility, like what would be your take on it? Like, is it like a complete, astronomical jump from a brand being absolutely invisible to gaining 1 million followers overnight? And that's the first question. The second would be, as Ayush, you pointed out that Instagram as a platform is growing really serious. So is that does that make the platform a bit more demanding than it was before? Like, in the sense, are you all expected to give statements on certain things, or are you all expected to, behave a certain way on the platform, in fear of getting cancelled, which is a very common term these days?
I think the latter question is more for Vishnu. I think it as a platform, I think it has gone demanding. I know, not as a platform, as a profession. Now it's a full scale profession, right? There are people whose bread and butter is Instagram, and rightly so. It has gone demanding in terms of the amount of content you have to create to stand out again. The consistency is the first point we said. That's one. In terms of the guidelines, I didn't get the question, but if you're referring to what Instagram doesn't put any guidelines except the global guidelines they have in terms of violence, abuse, and politically incorrect things. As far as the Indian guidelines that might and in some form get implemented eventually in the future, the advertising guidelines, I think they are a step in the right direction. They'll have to not be so stern because it's in the end a social media platform that you're trying to control and not a dedicated media publication platform, right? So there'll be a middle ground that the creators and the government will eventually find on what is acceptable for advertising and how advertising needs to be placed and published. As creators and Vishnu and everyone else in the team, they always prefer to put it out there beforehand, right? This is a paid advertising, this is an advertising, this is a branded campaign we are doing. How to put it is something that has to be delicately dealt with because we are not making a TVC. We are not doing whitelisted content. We are not putting an ad out there. We are integrating into our ecosystem. So technically it's not an ad, right? It's promotion of a product, but into our content. It's not a 30-second, please go buy this product. We are not making an ad. So yeah, I think those guidelines will have to be balanced out and a consensus will be drawn sometime in the future and we'll work from there then.
Very insightful answer, sir. This one's from Vishnu. I remember there being a post about, creating content and discovering your self-worth. Could you elaborate on that, please?
A post about?
Creating content which helps you discover your own self-worth. So could you elaborate on that?
Sure. Thank you for asking that question. It's a rarely asked question. I genuinely feel like moving forward, like I want to see like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, content is like a language. It's like learning a language because it's a form of expression of yourself, like how you express through words, poetry, all these things. Video, expressing yourself through a video, through a narrative, through a film is a sort of form of expression. I just feel it's like if expressing yourself through a blank statement is a two-legged runner, and through poetry is four-legged, and through a huge article blog is five-legged, then through video creation, it's 100-legged expression of yourself and your thoughts and beliefs. Now, what I feel is that every time I create content, I uncover a level and I feel a self-awareness a layer of myself. I understand, oh wow, because you're like, it's basically why people journal, to sort of unravel their thoughts and understand what they believe, what their core beliefs are, what their values are. And I feel when I'm creating a film, it takes me so much thought, and it's honestly like when I create a long form narrative film, which are on my YouTube, I have to go through a ridiculously painful process of like confronting myself and my own beliefs. I have to look at myself like, do I really believe this, or is it like something that because my friends were like, oh yeah, this is if this is what you have to believe to be cool. Like I want to, at least when I am with myself, to your point, when I cannot cancel myself, because I can't say everything that I think of, because I am still learning. I'm 23. Yeah, I'm 23. So I can't say everything I believe right now because I am learning. Like when I'm 40, I'll still be learning. So for me for me to be at a position in a social structure where everyone thinks that all my beliefs are right. They're not. They won't be. So I am learning. So when I'm with myself, when I'm creating that long form content, which is comes to the self worth part of it, you decide your worth, or as a creator, you sort of come to your worth when you have an understanding of yourself. It's like you can't tell कि ये सोना का जो भी piece है इतने उसका है without knowing its purity and all these things, whatever metrics are to decide the worth of gold. Making it less philosophical, the idea being that with every video, with every video that takes thought and narrative, and there's an idea behind it that you want to uncover, you sort of understand your beliefs, your values, and hence sort of reach to a place where you can, yeah, this is my worth, this is what I bring to the world, this is what I bring to the table, and hence this is my worth. So that's sort of like it, if that makes sense.
Okay, a follow up on that. Then how would you contrast the person you show through your content and the person we see in the Outcast podcast?
I think I have always believed, this has been my core belief since the day one of me starting my videos, because I remember like having a conversation with a famous creator at that point of time who we were talking, and he was saying that you need to pick a niche of your content and that's only how you'll be famous. And I never believed in that, because I don't believe that humans live in a niche. Like I don't wake up saying "Hage sige hage," and I don't wake up saying that, oh, what is the meaning of life? I live my life in ups and downs, and so do other people. And I feel I want to show and broadcast things that I feel on a specific way. Now, that's what I did. And a certain part of my life got picked up by the audience and people loved it. Now, as a creator, it's my job to sustain that, because I want to earn and I want to thrive, all those things. Now, I use that so capital and whatever you want to call it to also pump the other side of it, which are like my passion projects. My vlog is my passion project. My filmmaking is my passion project. My podcast is my passion project. Now, till the time these grow, I will obviously do one side of me as well. So as a creator, I want to, and this is also like one of the dilemmas of being a creator, because you feel like you want to do so much things, so many things, you want to experiment, you want to like give your 100% in like 4 areas, and then you sort of, you can't be best at everything, which is what I find hard to accept for myself, that, and so you end up sort of compromising one with another. But yeah, it's a process. Like it is a process. It takes time, which is what it is.
It was really wonderful to hear the amount of thought that you put into your content. Like, of course, we've all watched the content, we've watched how well it's curated. So it was evident a bit before, but to hear it directly from both of you was wonderful. With that, we come to an end of this session. So do you have any final thoughts that you would like to share with us?
Do you wanna start with the thoughts?
Nothing, guys. This has been delightful. It's always nice to not to actually to speak to people who are actually inquisitive about the business, because on a day-to-day basis we get so involved with the business part of it that we actually don't get time to sit and reflect of what this business is and how we work and how much effort it goes on a day-to-day operations. It's become a subconscious step. It's like a muscle memory for Vishnu and us to create those things. Yes, there's a lot of thought behind it, but it's gone onto its own auto drive. When I got the questions yesterday, some of the questions I understood. It's time to reflect of what we actually do, what are we trying to achieve here, and it helps us put things into perspective. So it's been wonderful to be questioned and to be able to give some guidance. It's quite an introspective exercise for us also to do these things on a monthly basis. We should do it, Vishnu. We should just have a team question us on multiple things, and we'll think about, oh, are we doing this right? Are we not doing this right? But yeah, I think we are Vishnu and me have these talks a lot. I think we keep on discovering it as a content creation as a business is exploding monumentally on a day-to-day basis. We question ourselves every month to see where we are in the bigger scheme of things and to see where we need to go in the bigger scheme of things again. So it's been wonderful. Thank you so much for having me here. And now Vishnu can give his parting words.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any like sort of wise things to say really, but because I'm pretty young. But I just want to say that like I always the kind of people I connect with the most are the creators. So I just want to sort of advise this if there are any creators amongst the audience that please look as the content you're creating as a tool of self-expression and improvement and figuring yourself out and figuring out what you love doing, like. And if you like cooking, please pick up content, like whatever you like. It's teaching, cooking, acting, whatever it is that your like passion is, combine it with sort of content creation and filmmaking and understanding narrative and how to uh, use that to sort of amplify. Because if you see like the greatest chefs, the greatest teachers right now are the ones online, are the ones who are creating content that has meaning, that has thought put into it. Like Gordon, everyone loves Gordon Ramsay because of the shows that he has. And all those shows, yes, they have video producers and everything, but his thought goes behind those as well. So content creation is an incredibly important tool, and don't let that sort of be diluted in short form content, only short form content, not following trends or like, just things that hold very less meaning for a very small amount of time. So yeah, that those will be my parting words.
That was really great advice from the both of you and really great messages. I'm sure everyone here has taken all of them into heart and into consideration, of course. Once again, thank you very much for your presence here at eSummit 2021. I can say for all of us here that it really has brightened the entire experience up. So as like a final request from the team members of EDC, we'd just like for you all to stay on for a few seconds more because we want to take a screenshot with all of the club members and you all, if that's all right.
Yeah, of course. स्क्रीनशॉट कौन लेता है यहाँ पे, कैसे लेते हैं?
अब लैपटॉप में अलग लिख देंगे पता नहीं।
हाँ, मर्जीत सही लग रहे हैं बाल तेरे।
Wow, there are like about 100 people on it.
Okay, sir, we are done.
बहुत लंबा स्क्रीनशॉट था ये।
Very much. Good night.
Thank you so much for having us. Thank you so much for having us. I had a great time. Thank you so much.